So I practiced emergency medicine for about 10 years and was always interested in regenerative medicine, alternative kind of medicine. And then as functional medicine got more popular and more accepted, I just felt like that was a good avenue for me. And so I just researched more and more and then opened up a practice on my own about 3 years ago to start doing some regenerative medicine and functional medicine treatments. Uses an acoustic wave therapy, a sound wave therapy, to shock the tissues. And so one of the things that it does is it can help break up the calcium deposits within the border of the blood vessels in the penis and around the penis. And then it can also activate stem cells and stimulate growth factor release to get new blood vessels to grow. Most men are candidates if there's been some sort of significant nerve injury from, say, prostate surgery or a spinal cord injury. Then those patients are not likely great candidates because they're not likely to respond. But most men who have erectile dysfunction are definitely candidates. Some will require more treatments than others. But I really like to combine, for the more severe cases, combine GAINSWave with platelet-rich plasma, the P-shot, or with stem cells, and then just keep doing the GAINSWave treatments to get these guys to respond. The ideal candidate is virtually any man who's having problems with his erections, but I get guys that say, hey, I don't really have true erectile dysfunction, but my erections are not as firm and full as they were a few years ago, all the way up to the guys that say, look, I haven't been able to have intercourse in years. And I've been able to treat successfully almost everyone in those groups. I've had a couple of patients said that they had an odd tingling sensation that lasted for a day or two. Most of them say they just feel more engorgement in the area. I've had a couple of patients with Peyronie's disease. So the protocol for treating Peyronie's disease is a little bit more intense, and the tip it's smaller, so the energy is focused in a smaller area. And so I've had a couple of people have minor bruising from the Peyronie's treatment, but I haven't had anybody have any bruising from just the general GAINSWave treatment. There are lots of articles on GAINSWave.com from legitimate medical journals. I think the last time I checked on there was over 40 articles that show there is significant research that GAINSWave type procedures, extracorporeal shockwave therapy, does work. The response rate according to the GAINSWave website, is around 75%. I see at least that many people respond. I don't have any medical treatment that works 100% of the time, but when patients come in and do GAINSWave plus platelet-rich plasma or stem cells and follow my protocol, I see almost 90%, or right about 90% success. If someone just comes in and says, hey, I have some very minor erectile dysfunction, some minor issues maintaining for long periods of time, or their erections are just not quite what they were a few years ago, I usually tell them start with 6 treatments and then we'll give you a break and take it from there. But if someone comes in and says, I haven't had intercourse in 2 or 3 years because I haven't been able to have an erection firm enough for intercourse, then I'm usually realistic with those patients and tell them, hey, you're going to need 12 treatments, and then we're probably going to need to start looking at additional treatments such as platelet-rich plasma or stem cells, because those are your more difficult cases. And so the more severe the disease, the more treatments you're going to need. Depends on where they're coming from. So I'm in Northwest Arkansas in Fayetteville, so I have patients coming from Oklahoma, coming from Missouri, even some people coming from Texas, depending on what they're doing. So if they're coming from some distance, then I may have them come once or twice a year and do 1 GAINSWave treatment and a P-shot. If they're local, then I'll have them come in a little bit more frequently and just do the GAINSWave as a maintenance. The main thing is that the disease of erectile dysfunction is mostly a vascular disease, a disease of blood vessels. And so it's just going to get worse. And so in my opinion, the sooner you treat it, the better, because we can start improving the calcifications, the calcium deposits in the blood vessels. We can start stimulating new blood vessel growth. If you just put it off for 2 years, that's just 2 years of worsening disease, and that means that your chances of responding are less.